With the release of the most recent videos on the channel and kind of moving forward, I already made the decision that I'm going to potentially just, put a bit more personality into my stuff. So I'm hoping that that's going to be okay, and I'll get the impressions from you guys whether you either like it or not. I'm hoping that it'll be fine, because I think that some people enjoy it, some people might not, I don't know. I'm just trying something new at this point, because to hold back a lot of stress and anxiety is a lot of work. And thus far I feel like there's been a good amount of impression from the video, and I think people are now realizing that or people now have the ability to make the opinion for themselves based on what I'm saying and based on showing things and then tying it to what I'm saying, is getting the idea and the impression that, yeah, even professionals can be unprofessional. I really don't care that I'm not qualified. I know I can do this work, but my competency can be different from myself to these people. That being said, someone asked a question about whether I got ripped off or not. That's the impression I get from it. And to be honest, to some extent yes, to some extent no. I would guess at about an hour is what they owe me in value, and they didn't give me that extra hour. But it's one of those things where that can happen with any job, where they overcharge by an hour, undercharge by an hour. I'm not going to go chasing 1 hour at this point in time, because I did learn some valuable things. The tow truck was fairly cheap. It was only $90. And it was also that price getting the car sent there, so I think I shouldn't get upset about it. But I feel like moving forward with this channel, we need to try and find a way to be a bit more engaged with each other in sort of ways of what you guys want to see, or ways you want to see things. Like, what do you like and what don't you like? That's really hard for me to tell about you guys commenting, maybe even putting in some timestamps at points where you have an issue or there's a problem and it's something to work on, or if you guys have ideas on what you could do sort of better, is sort of the impression. Some of the negative thinking that I've been having is not good, and I feel like I need to twist that, and it's really hard work to change the negative thinking patterns and stuff. But I'm gonna keep working on myself. Now, I can't improve my equipment. What I've got is what I've got. I've got a broken camera, broken tripod. I've got a C70, Logitech C70, 270. And I've got my iPad and my R11, Oppo R11. There's not really much else I can do. So people can give their impressions of what they think of the video quality as much as they like. The thing is, if you knew my finances, you'd understand why I'm not going to go and buy another camera tomorrow, and why I'm going to use what I've got and let it go as long as I can. Now, there is another problem with my car, but I think I'm just going to leave it alone, not worry about it, and it's one that I had major concern or not. That is the clutch. The clutch seems to be a bit funny, and for me, it's reminiscent of the very first time I ever drove my car on the road and not knowing how to drive a manual, and especially this one. Like, the first night I drove it like a professional. The second day, the next day, I was lost. I was struggling to drive the thing, and so that was a bit of a headache, but I managed to drive it. But today I've had to take it from like first to second, and then to get back in the first, instead of putting it in the first, I'd have to bring the car to a complete stop just to get it in first. It was how difficult it was at some points in time. Otherwise, all you do is you try to get into gear, and then you play with the accelerator while on the clutch, and then it will just jump into the gear and group, and then you can drive. It's like as if the clutch is slipping, but not bedded in or worn in or something. It's something similar to that effect. Now, the reason I use the clutches in there now is because that one was fairly new. That was newer than the clutch that I was already using prior, and mine has already 50,000 kilometers, maybe more on it, up to 80,000 maybe. I knew my engine wasn't going to last 100,000 kilometers. I knew there was a risk of it failing, but unfortunately it wasn't the thing that I thought was going to fail. It was something completely different. And different events caused it to happen. Now, I fixed the oil leaks, I fixed things. I got video to work with, but it's one of those things where I'm not sure what I'm going to post next. I don't know what I'm going to do next, and these are the easy kind of videos to do. I really need to get you guys' impressions. If you want to like the videos, feel free to do so. Dislike them if you want. If you really don't like them, I feel like being honest and truthful about this stuff. Like, if you really hate this video, if you really dislike it, just dislike it. It lowers our ratings, yes, but it also gives us the impression that this isn't really good content. This is something that you yourself wouldn't want to see, and it's an impression that maybe other people might not want to watch it. And by thumbing it up, you're saying that you like this video, this is something you want to see. But it's good to be honest with yourself. It's good to be honest in general about this stuff. And it's up to you guys if you just want to subscribe. I'm not in the mood to basically say, hey, subscribe to me, because I want to respect you guys and say, look, I'm not going to be consistent with my content. And you guys have been respectful of me and sticking around even though I don't post as much, so I appreciate that. When I can make something, if I have something that I think I can make, that's when I'm going to do it for this Michael the Mechanical channel. I have other stuff to work on as well. But yeah, it is what it is. Tomorrow, I will not be doing anything other than going into town and doing some work on game-related stuff. I don't think I have time to work on videos. And today, I played a game for the end of the day because of all the work. If you add all the work together that gets done, all the anxiety and the stress that makes it harder to do the work and whatnot, you'll understand how these things can be difficult, and you can appreciate how much effort goes into everyone else's day-to-day lives. I appreciate the people who can actually spend the time to join in, but I also hope that when I can present value to you guys, that something there is of value to you. I feel like the Triton MJ is the last project people are going to see for a long time, because I can't afford to do anything else. This engine build is on my back, and for me to do projects, it's a lot more expensive than it seems, and to do it in this environment is really hard and really frustrating. And you get the impression when I just look at the ground over there, the mess and the stuff, there's been that much stress that I have not even bothered to clean that up again, because it just gets messy again. And then there's just so much stuff. You just want space. Just want space, but there is no such thing as a perfect environment. There's nothing perfect. I know game developers, and their desks are messier than mine. And I know we're not game developers all here. We're mostly people who are into our automotive stuff and cars and whatnot. You know, just yesterday, I believe, there was a guy talking about all these Falcon owners and stuff, that, you know, Falcon tough attitude or something, and he was talking about keyboard warriors and stuff, and he was coming off with the impression of being a keyboard warrior himself is a bit of a hypocrite. But it's one of those things where he himself is just really ticked off, and he's doing it too much. Like, don't become the thing you despise, be better. That's the way I say it, and that's the way I look at it. And it is really a hard thing. So me to say it, I know it's harder than it sounds. But at least if someone tells you something and gives you really good advice, and people keep pushing it, it's a good thing for people to have that reinforced for them. If you say it once and then don't say it again, it's not reinforced. But by reinforcing that concept, that idea, that ideology, that is a good thing to do. I like honesty. I trust in honesty, and while you can get annoyed and angry and frustrated with honesty, your frustration, your anger, your anxiety, whatever, is at least honest. And people have to respect how you're feeling about the situation. But in the end, can we come up with a solution? What can we do? Don't expect everything to be free, because people do spend their time. With my car, okay, people might think you got ripped off. Okay, maybe I got ripped off an hour and a half, but you should go see the other work these guys done for me. I, in a way, would say that they haven't entirely ripped me off. No way. I think they gave me a good deal, and while they haven't been professional in my view fully, I feel like to some extent they have delivered maybe their value's worth to me specifically, but in other people's eyes maybe not so much. Like, they might think that, yeah, you got ripped off, but I'm going to accept the bill. I'm going to accept what they've done and what they've achieved, because I understand the times that things take, and $1,600 was expected to be what it would cost. The two major jobs I wanted done was I wanted the injection pump fitted, and I wanted, the timing done. And the only reason I add the extra stuff on board is because I wanted them to purge the cooling system of all the air in case there's a procedure that's been done wrong. There's only turbulation in the water. There is absolutely no bubbles. That's when I purged the system of air. It was only a turbulation. Turbulation is where the water is like this and you don't see it unless it's like near the surface or something, or if you can see it in like the particulate effects, because you don't really see water stirring or turbulating or anything. So normally when you see the water turbulate on the surface and you see the water coming up like the bubbles, but when it's turbulating, you only see the surface of the water doing something and you don't see something come straight up and out of the cooling system. And I'll leave this video there. I'm pretty sure my phone's going to run out. It is expensive to make these videos on my phone. Thank you guys so much for viewing and joining in the channel. I hope to see more comments and more impressions about things down the course of time, and we'll see how things go. So take care everyone. Michael Mechanical out.